Hey, what's going on, RC drivers? Welcome back to the channel. If you're on the hunt for a new radio system, you just landed on the right video. We have the new Spektrum DX5 Pro to check out. Now, for the regular viewers of the channel, you're probably thinking I'm getting old, I'm forgetting things, that we already reviewed the DX5 Pro. You're absolutely right, but this is the 2021 version, so we're going to go over the details that make this new radio different. If you want to get even more detail about the DX5 Pro, definitely check out my older review. I'll put a link up above. All right, now let's move on to the 2021 and let's talk about what comes in the box. So this is the box right here. Obviously, this is the transmitter only version. You'll notice that by the orange label on the front. They also have one with a receiver, the 2100 receiver. So I will have links to all that stuff down below if you want to check it out, links to buy, all that great stuff. But I want to show you right now what comes in this particular box. And obviously you get the radio and you get a bunch of accessories along with it. You get some extra grips so you can adjust the handle of the radio system. You also get these little wedges in here. There's a 10-degree wedge and a 15-degree wedge. And what that does is it goes right in here and allows you to kind of move the steering wheel over so you can adjust it to your particular feel, the way you naturally hold the radio system. So when you're out driving for long periods of time, whether you're on the trail crawling or maybe you're in a nitro race for a 45-minute main or whatever, you can have a nice comfortable feel to the radio system. And Spektrum really has got a lot of details in here, a lot of features that allow you to tune this even more. But also what's in the bag here is a extra wheel. It's a smaller wheel than the one that's on there, has a foam to it as well. There's some extra little hardware and stuff in that bag. And then they have an extra spoke wheel in there as well. You get some decals and you get the manual, which of course you should read. It gives you all the details about what's going on inside the radio system. I'll give you a brief overview of that. But I want to talk about some of the additional features on the outside here as well. And the things on the outside that make this different from the previous version, number one is the steering wheel. So it's kind of got this V spoke to it, which is pretty cool. You'll also notice it has the smart logo down on the bottom. It also has the smart logo here on the display as well. And that's really about it. The other change actually is the trim tabs here, the little trims for all the different functions that you could do with this radio system. So the tabs on the older radio were a bit taller and they've revised it so they're a bit lower now, so they're really easy to kind of reach over with your finger and tune while you're driving. So I do like that change up. Pretty much the rest of it is the same on the outside. The batteries load in from the bottom, 4 AA batteries. And then the rest of the changes are on the inside of the radio system. And some of it is mechanical. So supposedly there is a new steering mechanism in here as well that allows you to have much more precise steering control. I thought the previous version did a great job, but apparently they've revised that, and so that's even better. And then we get into the functionality of it. So let's start off by powering it on. The button's right up top here. It's got a really loud tone to it. And the first thing I want to mention is the simple scroll. So you could scroll through the menus really easily on this, but just by scrolling it down to see the monitor menu. And on the monitor menu, you'll be able to see your steering throw, your throttle throw, even your auxiliaries. But once this is hooked up to a car and you just simply scroll down, you'll be able to see screens like the telemetry screen or even the firmware screen, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But beyond that, you could just push in and you could get to the regular function list and then scroll down through all the different stuff that you could tune on this. I'll just go over it really quickly. You could do model select, model name, travel, trim, reverse speed, rates, expo, timer. There you could change up the frame rate on here, mixing. So let's say you have a truck set up with 4-wheel steering and you turn the front and you want the rear to turn a little bit, you'll be able to do that in the mixing setup. Also works great for MOA trucks. You could also tune the AVC in here, ABS, idle. Let me just scroll down through the menus now. Trim setup, channel assign, telemetry, and drive mode. So these are some really key functions in here that I want to talk about. Telemetry. This thing links right up to the smart sense of the firmware systems. So once it recognizes you have a smart battery, a smart speed controller in the car, you'll be able to see things like voltage or RPM, depending on what accessory the telemetry is reading. That is really cool. You can also adjust drive modes in here. So if you have a car that's already set up with a drive mode, let's say a tenacity vehicle, you could go in there and go through trainer mode, slippery mode, full rip mode, all of those. I've talked about those in the past in some of my other Spektrum reviews. So you could go in and adjust those here, which is very cool. Then system settings and system setup and so on. So some of the other features in here that I want to talk to you about are, again, the telemetry. The telemetry basically links up with the smart sense of the throttle. Once it sees that there is telemetry involved, it will just display everything right here on the screen when you select through the simple scroll. So you'll be able, again, see the battery voltage, how much time you have left, the RPM of the motor, temperature even. So it's really cool that you can see all that functionality right here on the face of the radio. And now one of the cooler new things is the text gen. So if you watch my Spektrum brushless crawler system review, you saw where I was using this radio system to actually tune my speed controller. I think I showed that. I basically told you guys about it. But yes, you can go ahead and tune your speed controller right here from the radio system. There is a little process involved where you have to turn the steering wheel in order to get into the programming functions. But once you do that, you use the trigger to scroll through and use the steering wheel for setting things. But you could do it all here on the radio versus doing it through the speed controller, maybe through a program card or hooking up to your PC. So that is one of the new functions that's in here. Now, one of the other new features that's in here that you really can't see is it has a new RF module. So it's going to allow this radio system to basically connect much better with your car. It's got to have a stronger signal to it. It's got to allow for better range. Better sensitivity as far as when you're driving it. It also allows the telemetry setup to operate between the car and the radio system that much better. So they've basically bumped everything up in here. So this is a high-powered radio that is going to give you the feel that you want out of a high-end radio system. And now finally, one additional feature that they've programmed into here are different vibe alerts. So let's say you have a low battery, you could adjust the vibration of the radio system to kind of let you know that, hey, your battery is going low, or if your temperature is getting too high, it could have a vibration to it. So again, the tunability of this radio system is great. The programmability is fantastic. There's just so much going on in here. It really has everyone covered, from the crawler to the monster truck driver, to the boat racer, to the pro buggy or truggy driver. This radio can really be used for anyone, even bashers as well. I mean, you've got I think it's 250 model memory in here. It's absolutely insane, the amount of things that you could go ahead and program to all the different cars. And it's updatable as well. There is the SD card in the back, so if there's any firmware updates, you'll be able to update this radio system. If you want to take somebody else's setup from their radio, transfer it over to yours, you could do that through the SD card as well. So this is really an all-in-one radio system for everybody. Now, I've actually been out driving with this radio already. Again, I tested it with the new Spektrum crawler system. I had a great time using it for that as well. I always found this radio system to be comfortable right out of the box. But when I was using it for the crawler, I was able to get into that firma screen, adjust the things that I wanted to. It is a little tricky to get a handle on it. I mean, it's different from scrolling the wheel since you need to use your steering wheel and your throttle. But I just thought it was fantastic that I was able to go and program everything I wanted to right here. And then after that, I used the radio system at RC Madness. I installed this into my TLR 22 5.0, took it out on the carpet track for a bunch of laps, and to be honest, I didn't notice the difference, through the RF module, the improvements in it. I thought the previous radio was fantastic, and this thing was just precise as it always was, in my opinion, when I was out there driving the 22. I mean, that thing was just on point. Every move that I made, the car made. So this radio, in my opinion, yes, it is absolutely connected to the receiver. Obviously, Spektrum's a leading radio system out there. They've got the TLR brand, under the umbrella as well. So they're going to want their drivers to have the fastest possible response from the radio system. And I thought the response was on point when I was out there driving the 22 on a carpet track where it needs to be precise. But other than that, Spektrum continues to do a great job of identifying things that racers and drivers and bashers want out of a radio system and incorporating it into newer models. And I think the 2021 is a model that you might really want to consider, even if you do have a standard DX5 Pro. The additional functionality in here and the precision control of it, I think is really something to consider. And I'm going to switch things up, start using this radio system primarily, and this one's going to get handed down to my kids. But Spektrum, nice job on this. If you have any questions or comments about this radio system, throw it in the comment section below. While you're down there, please hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell. Throw the video a like, and we'll see you back soon for some more RC Driver videos.